Ah, don't give me that, Kate. You only put in for a transfer because life's too quiet down here. Well, don't be silly. You can't afford to turn down promotion. I mean, someone's got to buy that fella of yours Panatella, isn't he? Yes, she starts next week, but she's coming in this morning to suss the place out. She's a woman called Sue Maxwell. She's been with one of the county forces. Well, I've had a look at her computer entry. She's under 90, she drives a car, and she's had her transfer application in for over 18 months. She must have got fed up with leaning on 5-bar gates, chatting up village Romeos. Wants to look at the bright lights, I suppose. Well, you could be right. I'll keep my fingers crossed. Well, we'll miss you, Kate. Now, you look after yourself. Bye-bye.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes, you're Miss Maxwell.
Oh, call me Sue. Most of the lads in the village do.
You came in very quietly.
I'm quite soft-footed when I'm not wearing my wellies. Well, that's a nice office.
Yes.
My desk?
No, it's that one over there.
May I sit?
Well, it's yours, isn't it? As from Monday.
The nice man who followed me up, Harry?
Harry Stark.
What's his extension, do you know?
84.
Hello, Harry. Sue Maxwell. Harry, could you possibly bring me up a cushion from stores? No, any cushion will do, just as long as it's comfortable. You're a pal. Thanks.
Well, you certainly believe in making yourself at home.
Well, work during the day, bright lights in the evening. And why make work a penance? My pigeon.
Your pigeon.
G13, Sue Maxwell. Just a moment, please. Do we have a Phil Strong working here?
Yes, he's our technical officer, but he's not here at present. He's out on a job in the sticks.
I'm sorry he's not here at the moment. Oh, do you? Yes, I know where Stanton is. Really? Well, thank you.
Anything I should know?
You send people on some funny jobs, don't you?
Well, that's the way the work turns out. It can be dodgy occasionally.
I'm sure.
So who was it?
Local police at Stanton.
Ah, our Phil's been treading on their toes.
You could say that, yes. They're holding him on suspicion of murder.
Your people in London played a bit cagey, don't they?
Very hush-hush job, as Inspector.
Not when there's a murder charge involved, it's not.
Didn't know you charged anybody yet.
Ah, we don't tell you everything, Phil. Now, where did we get to?
Question, what brought you up here in the first place? Answer, volunteering beyond the call of duty. Question, what the hell does that mean, Strong? That's where we left off.
So, now you tell me.
Tell you what, boss, we're going to miss Kate Burton, you know. She'd have got them back in one piece.
Well, I've been on to the county force, so they can't spare anyone to pick them up. They suggested I send them registered post.
So, why not?
Because the two paintings are worth about £12,000.
Frank Brangwyn? I didn't think you sold that well.
Well, that's the valuation according to the experts.
There's experts and there's experts.
We were found with all that other stuff down in K Division. Fortunately, one of the valuers knows the collection they're from, so it's just a question of returning them to their owner.
Who's where, you say?
Stanton. It's a village up in the Midlands.
I'll tell you what, boss.
What?
I'll take them back. Yes, I'd rather like to return these to the owner.
And have Monday off at the firm's expense.
I could go today and over the weekend up there.
Oh, and just have Friday off at the firm's expense.
Something like that.
What are you up to?
Me? Give over. What do you say, boss?
Well, as long as you sign for 'em, you can get a train from St Pancras.
Now, I've got lunchtime. Got one or two things to do downstairs before I leave.
There's two little pictures worth £12,000.
Yes. And I hope you've got them locked up tight. I sign them out.
You've got bigger worries than that in your plate. How do you spell Brangwyn?
They're both signed.
I didn't see.
B-R-A-N-G-W-Y-N.
I've never heard of him.
It's quite well known by some people.
Like you, eh?
Me? Yeah, I'm not all that famous.
You are around here, Phil.
OK, so I found the body. It's just my luck. Or bad luck, I should say.
Bad luck is right. You see, Phil, we got a witness.
I know. The little girl who saw me pull him out of the water.
No, I know, Phil. She'd been on the bank some time. She saw you before you went up to the house.
Hey, you! What are you doing on my land?
What? What'd you say?
I said, what are you doing on my land?
I'm having a walk.
Well, go and do it somewhere else, then, quick.
I'd like to oblige you, mate. But according to my map, this is a public footpath that leads all the way to Stanton village.
Are you trying to argue with me?
Sounds like it, doesn't it?
Look, if you log off my land in the next 10 minutes, I'll set the dogs on you. Now, sing your...
I'll tell you what, Master, it's types like you that have got the Tory party a bad name. Ta-ra! Hope you catch a cold.
Stupid slum yobbo.
OK. He's a very quick-tempered man and a prize alcoholic. So come on, Phil. What really happened after you left the house? Huh? Another row that went a bit too far?
You really think I did him in, don't you?
We'd just like to know, but... Yes, we do think so.
Not got any other candidates so far?
We don't need other candidates.
Look, Sergeant, I appreciate that he's being questioned at present, but the man's on my staff, and I'd like to know why he's being held. Yes, I realize it's a CID matter. How about your super? Is he available? Well, who's the DI in charge of the investigation, then? Well, why can't you tell me? We're all in the same job, for God's sake. I mean, how would you feel if it was one of your lads in there? All right, I'll wait.
Hello, Rose. Sue Maxwell. Oh, I'm great, yes. And you? Fine, fine. Listen, Rose, can you tell me what's going on over at Stanton today?
Yes, yes. Detective Chief Inspector Lewis, Nicholas Lewis, 238436, in charge of G13B, London NW9. Immediate Superior, Commander Bartlett, New Scotland Yard. That is extension 84128. Now, just check that with the computer, will you?
Yes. Yes, go on, Rose.
Will you kindly tell me what the hell is going on down there? Now, I'm not getting annoyed, Sergeant. I'd merely like the minimum of cooperation on a matter that's of some importance to a member of my staff. Or don't you agree with that? Yep, all right. You tell the officer in charge. I'll be waiting to hear from him as soon as he can spare the time. Thank you very much.
Yes, I've got that. Thank you, Rose. See you.
As soon as you can spare a minute from your social activities, I'd like a computer check on CID...
I don't think you'll need that.
Well, I'll tell you what I need, Miss Maxwell.
Sue. The DI in charge of the case is Geoffrey Chambers. Detective Sergeant Chalk assisting him. They're questioning Phil Strong about the murder of Harry Brookeway, a local landowner who they fished out of the river this afternoon. No statement issued to the press yet.
Well, how did you...
Rose Carter, County Information Room. What you might call the old girls' network.
Well, thank you. Oh, hello. Extension 2113, please. Oh, hello, Miss Grimshaw. This is Nick Lewis here. I'd like to leave a message for Liz. Yeah, would you tell her I won't be back this evening? Pressure of work. Fine. Well, thank you very much. Goodbye.
I could have phoned your wife's place.
Well, so could I, but I was phoning my daughter's college. Look, I'm sorry I can't introduce you to the work. We'll have to make it Monday. Will you be all right on your own?
Will you?
If anybody phones, I'm out of town on a case.
Call to the sticks, as it were.
Anyhow, there's not much doubt he's the fellow we want, but that's between you and me. So, what was he doing up here anyway?
Why should he kill my husband? I can think of a lot of people who'd like to have done it, including me, but he'd never met him, had he?
Apparently he had, and there was some ill feeling between them.
That doesn't surprise me.
No. What time did this chap Strong get here?
Early this afternoon, about 2:30, I think. Mr. Spence had just arrived, and...
Sorry I'm late. Bumped into Henry at the Talbot Arms.
Tell me something new. Where does he get the money from? His father allows him £20 a week.
Oh, people know how much the estate's worth. His credit's good.
I've had a lifetime of it with his father. Do I have to put up with another lifetime of it from his son?
It won't go on much longer. We'll sort something out.
Like what?
Oh, don't worry. I'll think of something. Harry isn't going to live forever.
Excuse me, madam. It's a man from Mr. Brookway.
Mr. Brookway? What does he want?
Just to see him, he said.
I'll ask him to come in.
It's probably one of Harry's boozing chums.
Yes?
Sorry to bother you, Mr. Brookway.
Oh, my name's Spencer. This is Mrs. Brookway.
Oh, sorry. How do you do? Is Mr. Brookway not about at the moment?
Not at the moment, no. Do sit down, Mr.
Strong. Oh, thank you very much. Only I've come up specially from London to see him. Will he be long?
Possibly. Perhaps I can help in some way, or Mr. Spencer. He's our agent. He handles all my husband's business affairs.
Oh, I see. Well, perhaps. I've got some paintings, you see.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Strong. You've had a wasted journey. My husband gave up collecting years ago. Peter, give Mr. Strong a drink to soften the disappointment a little. Too late for sherry?
Oh, not for me. Thanks very much.
My son's a painter, you know. Apparently a very talented one. He hasn't been able to sell my husband even the tiniest daub.
Thank you.
Your own work?
Oh, no. I don't paint this good.
Well, maybe see.
Hmm. Oh, very good.
Just a moment, Pat. When were you last in Harry's study?
Don't be silly. I haven't been allowed in there for years. Why?
Well, it's a longish time since I was up there, but... Would you mind if I took these pictures for a moment? Just a couple of minutes.
No, not a bit. But be careful with them. They're very valuable.
Oh, I'll be very careful.
Well, be mysterious, then. I think I'm going to join you in a sherry, Mr. Strong. Are you with one of the galleries?
No, I'm a civil servant, to be honest.
Oh. But you collect paintings in your spare time?
Well, the paintings don't actually belong to me.
Next you'll be telling me they're stolen property.
Well, they were, but they're not now, if you know what I mean.
Well, not till you tell me.
Well, you see, the branch of the civil service I work for, it's part of the Home Office. We deal in stolen property. Those paintings were found in a place in London, along with a lot of other bank gear. Stolen property. We think they belong to your husband.
You mean you think the pictures were taken from here, from the house?
Looks that way.
Peter, the most extraordinary thing, this man, Mr. Strong, he tells me he thinks the paintings were stolen from here. He's with the police or something.
No, not the police, the Home Office.
I think you could well be right. I've just taken these up to Harry's study because I knew I remembered them hanging on the south wall.
Do you mean to tell me we've had thieves in the house and knew nothing about it?
Either that or someone on the staff took them.
Silly Harry'd shoot anyone that went into his study, and they know it.
Mr. Strong, I'm sorry to have to ask you this, but have you any papers to show who you are?
Oh, yes. Lots. Oh, and there's this. I'd like Mr. Brookway to sign it. It's a receipt for his property.
It seems so incredible. Look, could I sign this? Or Mrs. Brookway? You may have some time to wait for Mr. Brookway.
Well, they are rather valuable. Will he be back later on, or tomorrow morning, perhaps?
Well, you're staying up here?
There's a pub in the village I've booked in at, the Talbot. Thought I'd have the weekend in the country.
He should be back at about 5 for tea. But, Peter, surely Harry would have noticed the pictures had gone.
Would he? In recent years?
Right, well, I'll be going then. About 5 o'clock, you said?
Yes. Let me give you a lift to the Talbot Arms.
Oh, that's all right.
Well, it's no trouble.
I thought it might be a nice walk back along the riverbank.
You're sure he said that?
Yes, I heard him. Is it important?
Very important. It shows he didn't meet your husband by accident. He meant to go via the river where he knew he'd be. He planned the job.
I can't understand you, Phil. Really, I can't. We're more or less in the same business. You know there's no point in clamming up on us. But isn't it if you weren't provoked? The kid heard him bawling you out. Look. Tell you the way I see it. You were walking down the path. He attacked you with his fishing rod and you had to defend yourself, right? Everybody round here knows about Harry Brookway's temper.
Harry Brookway? Is that who the dead man is?
As if you didn't know.
Vile temper when he's drunk, and he's always drunk. So it's not as if you're going to get any 10 years for this lot, is it? I mean, you could get away purse or clean. You could, honest. So come on. Tell us what happened, eh?
Did you manage to get in touch with that London number?
You don't get any free telephone calls till you talk, mate. Then you can have who you like.
What about a solicitor?
Did he say something, Jeff?
Honest, Phil. You're not helping yourself, you know. Nobody's trying to verbal you. I mean, if you want to write out what happened, you can do. There you are. Statement forms, new pen. Okay?
Tell you what, Jeff. Why don't you go up to the canteen and get yourself a cup of tea? Perhaps Philip might feel a little more talkative when you get back.
Look, Phil, you've been here, what, 3 hours? It's only Friday night. We don't have to bring it up till Monday morning. That's a long time, Phil. And there's not just the two of us, you know. Plenty of lads waiting to take it in turn with you. We'll all get our sleep, Phil, but you won't, will you?
And some of the lads aren't as good-natured as we are. You do yourself a real favour talking to the inspector here. A real favour. Me? Constable got that right. You're a chief inspector with the Met.
Lewis. Nick Lewis.
And what brings you up here, sir?
Was it you who found the Met property office this afternoon?
I don't know what case you're on, but we haven't asked for the Met's assistance, as far as I know.
You got a man here called Strong, Philip Strong.
And what's that got to do with you, sir?
I'd like to see someone in authority. You super in?
No.
What's your rank?
I don't see that that's got anything to do with you either, sir. We run a good little county force here, and most things that come up we can sort out ourselves, without any flash gents from the smoke giving us a hand. Particularly when we haven't called them in.
Sergeant.
Jeff, that is Detective Chief Inspector Lewis from London. Thinks his warrant card stretches right up here.
Well, what's the problem, Inspector?
Well, the problem is getting a few straight answers from your colleague here.
Yeah, we're rather busy at present. You say we've got a murder case in our hands.
Right, and you're holding one of my blokes for questioning.
You're talking about Strong?
He works with me.
Oh, I see.
We'll go and keep him company, Jeff.
No, just a minute. Mr. Lewis, do you think Strong would speak frankly to you?
He always has in the past.
Yeah, well, he's not being at all cooperative with us. In fact, I'm glad you're here. How did you get here so quickly, by the way?
Car. Where is he?
Interview room. Through here.
Nick, what kept you?
Phil?
Go on.
What's it all about, Phil?
They've nicked me.
Well, I can see that. You going to tell me what happened?
No.
Not too many people about?
That's right.
See, Jeff, they'd like some privacy to cook up a really good story for us.
Shut up, Trev. You're not his solicitor, Mr. Lewis. You don't get any private chat with him. We can't allow that.
Wouldn't really matter if he was. I'm reserving my defence, as they say.
Phil, a man has been murdered.
I know. I have a good idea why. And I could make a fair guess at who did it. But if I did, that clown over there might get the credit for the case. And I'll go a long way to stop that happening.
And I suppose you've been concocting this fairy tale while we've been questioning you.
Not a bit. I knew why at 10 o'clock this morning, but I didn't know it was going to happen like. Do you know what I mean?
Sounds to me as though he's losing his marbles.
Well, Mr. Lewis?
Thank you. I'm sorry I couldn't be more help.
He'll probably tell us all about it soon enough.
He may, but don't try and help him too hard, son, because if you did, I might take it personally.
If we keep our heads, there's no reason why we shouldn't get away with it. They've got that chap Strong for the killing. They won't be looking for anyone else.
On the word of a 14-year-old child, how long do you think that's going to satisfy them?
Long enough for us to sort something out here.
And how long's that going to take?
Pat, don't go to pieces on me.
Henry.
Mother? Peter?
Do you really need that?
No, not really. Bit of a celebration. Not every day we have a murder in the village.
Henry, it was your father.
Oh, come on, Mother. Let Peter do the moral indignation bit. He's better at it than you are. Sherry tastes revolting.
It doesn't go well on top of red biddy.
Tails out of school, Peter. Peter found me in the pub earlier. I expect he thought I'd be so drunk I'd tell him everything I knew. But I don't know anything. Except that dear old Daddy's dead. That's nice for all of us, isn't it? I do find you two horribly boring when you've got secrets. Perhaps I shall go back to the Talbot. All right. Mum's the word.
There we are, Henry.
Thanks, Tom. Slate.
Same again, Mr. Lewis.
Yes, please.
Don't get many visitors this time of year. On business.
Yes.
Oh, well, you wouldn't have heard the news then.
What news?
80, please.
Yeah.
Been a murder in the village.
Oh, yes, yes, I heard.
Yes, one of the biggest landowners round here. Mr. Brookeway. That's his son just come in, young Henry.
He's in the pub?
He's always in a bit of an alky, you know what I mean? Runs in the family.
Well, you think he'd give it a night off?
Well, I don't suppose it's sunk in yet.
Well, he does know, then.
Well, his cousin was in earlier, Peter Spencer, he's Brookway's agent. He must have told him, mustn't he? Still, these artists, well, you just never know, do you?
Well, is that what he is, an artist?
Yeah, he's a very good one, too. He did all those paintings on the wall over there. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, same again.
Evening.
Do I know you?
No, I just thought I'd sit with you for a minute. I've been admiring your paintings.
What's your name?
Nick Lewis.
You can't know much about painting, Nick Lewis.
Oh, not a lot.
But you know what you like.
That's about it.
I know a great deal about painting. And I don't know what I like at all. You must excuse me laughing. I've had a shock today.
Yes, I heard. I'm sorry.
Did you know my father?
No.
A bastard of the old school. He won't be missed.
Not by you.
Particularly not by me. Is that whiskey you're drinking?
Yes, I'll get it.
Oh, no, no. Sit down. I'm in charge of the wait. Scotch in there, Tom.
Right.
You'll find the brushwork meticulous. It's one of my strongest points.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cheers.
A bit like Brangwyn, that one.
Brangwyn? What on earth makes you say that?
Well, I've seen some of his stuff recently.
Different light values, different palette, different composition. You really don't know anything about painting, do you, Nick?
Well, as I said, not a lot.
And yet, perhaps you're a better judge than I am.
Well, I wouldn't think so.
No, let me finish. All right. You see, I'm a very good painter. So people say. I mean, look at all the prizes I won. That's got to mean you're good, hasn't it?
I'd imagine so.
Oh, but that's where you're wrong. Because I'm not any good. I'm useless, in fact.
Well, if you say so.
Let's talk about something else.
Finished?
I've got all the pictures from his bedroom. I can't get into the studio.
Yeah, and Henry's got the only key.
Well, you'll have to get it. It shouldn't be difficult. He'll be as drunk as a fish when he gets back.
Is it so necessary?
Pat, I've told you. It's the only motive there is. Now, once we've got rid of them, all of them, we've got as much breathing space as we need.
I suppose now that my father's dead, the money will be mine, won't it?
Yeah, I suppose it will.
That's what I thought. I'm going now. Brangwyn? What on earth made him mention Brangwyn?
He certainly is a case, isn't he?
Is he the only son?
Yes, just him. He'll have the estate, I suppose.
Until he drinks it away.
Oh, no, he won't do that. Peter Spencer will see to that.
Ah, yes, that's the cousin.
Yeah, he runs the place. Well, you see, the old man, old Brookeway, he drinks twice as much as the boy. Or did, I should say. But as long as Peter's around, I'll tell you something. It's one of the few estates in these parts that gets bigger every year. Always got money to buy land of the Brookways. Oh, excuse me, sir. Yes, miss, can I help you?
Yes, I'd like a room for the night, if you've got one.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I'll take you back.
Thank you.
Well, what are you doing here?
Well, I thought you might need a bit of help, sir. Oh, I'll have a Sanzano and lemonade, please.
Sanzano and lemonade.
You see, Mr. Lewis, us little old country girls know our way about in the sticks. I wouldn't like you to get lost or anything, now would I? Her name's Mary Parker. She's 14, and she lives with her mother in the house next to the school.
How did you find all this out?
Try and stop the landlady at the Talbot from talking. Are you going to have a word with the girl?
No, Sue. She's a principal witness. If I so much as go near the kid, they'll have me inside.
Thought it might be difficult. The landlady also implied that all was not above board at the big house. Brookway's place.
How?
The village seemed to think that Mrs. Brookway and Mr. Spencer have a lot of time for each other. Country matters, you might say.
Well, if that's right, they'd have been the first people the local lads would have questioned.
Except the local lads had already got their murderer. Your mate Phil.
Yes, you've got a point. And if they won't do it, I don't see that I can. In the moment I go knocking on their door, they'll be on the blower to the local Nick.
Why?
Well, because it's not my murder, it's theirs, and I've no authority.
But what if you weren't investigating a murder?
You mean pay them a social call? Well, that's a very, very good idea.
No, not a social call. Were those paintings? Couldn't you be returning them?
Not if we had them, but they'll be locked away along with Phil.
Perhaps I could get them out.
Oh, could you?
I could try.
The old rustics network again?
Not this time.
You're Miss Maxwell?
Yes, that's right.
What's all this about paintings, miss? Sure you know we got a murder on our hands?
Yes, I had heard. Still, that's not my department. Those paintings are, and unless your prisoner's property office want them, I'd like them back. Quite straightforward, really.
But it's Saturday morning. There'll only be storemen at the PPO.
So you won't be able to send them there, will you? I've got the paperwork here.
I don't want to see your paperwork.
Really? Do you happen to know the value of those paintings? Have a look. And a prison locker room in this weather's going to do them a lot of good, isn't it?
This chap Strong had them with him.
Of course he had. He signed for them. There. Now I've countersigned there. And I'd like them back before any damage is done.
Strong's being questioned about a crime committed in our jurisdiction. Whatever he had with him at the time, we look after.
Oh. I didn't know he'd been charged.
No, he's not been charged. Not as yet.
Good Lord. In that case, his belongings aren't covered by PPO regulations.
Exactly, miss.
Oh, well, I suppose I better check. I'd like you to get me a London number, please, if you don't mind. It's the commander, K Division. You'll find his extension number there on the top of the consignment note. You'll see that they're consigned by him to G13 Metropolitan Police.
The, commander?
Well, we have to deal at that level. You won't like it. Not Saturday morning. Or you could take the schedule note, which I've countersigned, and give me the paintings. That would at least save me phoning him, wouldn't it?
Okay.
They're in your charge now.
They mean anything to you?
Just a view with a view.
Phil said he knew since 10 o'clock yesterday morning. That's what he said. We were in the office then. He was sitting at my desk looking at these.
Is that when he brought them up here?
Yes. No, he didn't. He took them downstairs with him to the lab. Do they look funny to you, either of them?
That's the last word I'd use. Gloomy would be more like it.
Yeah, well, all right. Peculiar.
Oh, they're peculiar. I'll give you that.
You know, I don't think these paintings are for real. I think they're forgeries, and I think I know who did them. Come on, Miss Maxwell.
Back to the hotel?
No, there should be one open on a Saturday, shouldn't there?
Oh, there usually is. One what?
Perhaps I should have asked him to sign for him.
It's a bit of a forlorn hope, you know. I shouldn't think in a little country place like this they'd know much about painting.
He said the curator was an expert.
He didn't say in what.
Please, do sit down.
Thank you.
Are you the owners of these two paintings?
Well, we're in charge of them. I'm a police officer.
Ah, yes. Yes, I thought they'd been pinched.
Oh, did you?
Well, actually, you see, I know these paintings. They're by a painter called Brangwyn. He used to have a considerable popularity in his heyday, and in fact, he's having a bit of a rerun at present. Quite valuable in the sales rooms. Why have you brought them here?
You know these paintings. Do you know who owns them?
Well, it used to belong to a local collector called Brookeway. I imagine they've been through quite a few hands since then. That was years ago.
Are you absolutely sure that they are the original paintings? They're not copies? Well, sir?
Not a dot in the world. I'd stake my pension on
They're
it.
genuine.
Oh, yeah?
No, you really can be that sure.
Well, you came to the right gallery. I've specialized in the works of this period for over 30 years. And I... Good Lord.
Yes.
Curious coincidence. I mentioned this chap Brookeway, didn't I?
Yes.
Well, I was at an auction a couple of years ago when some paintings from his collection were sold. Some Etties, it was, yes. Mainly bought by American museums. It amused me very much at the time.
It amused you?
Yes, you see. They were all forgeries. Oh, very good ones. Almost not detectable unless you had a suspicious mind, but very definitely fakes.
And what happened? Did they catch the forgers?
Oh, good Lord, no.
You mean you didn't tell them?
No.
Well, why not?
American museums. Why should I?
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, I hope I've been helpful.
Oh, it's the only thing that makes sense.
That these paintings are genuine?
Yes, they'd have to be.
How?
Because they couldn't let the fakes out of the house again until Brookeway was dead.
Oh, you're making it clearer and clearer.
Well, all will be explained. We're nearly there.
Look, I know you're quite fearless and all that, but isn't it a bit dangerous? Calling unsuspected murderers?
Oh, I think I can handle him. No, not you, just me.
Mr. Spencer's not here. I really don't know.
You're very short-tempered recently, Mother?
Your father's been dead less than 24 hours.
Doesn't make me ill-tempered.
So I've noticed. Just more drunk.
A gentleman to see you.
Thank you.
Hello there. It's my friend that knows nothing about paintings. What's in the parcel? A funeral present?
Mrs. Brookeway?
Yes?
My name is Lewis. I'm from the police. Could I have a word with you, please?
If you must. Henry, go away somewhere, please.
I'd like Henry to stay. I think it concerns him.
Oh, now those are Brangwins. You see what I mean about the values? Totally different.
Look, I've just lost my husband. I'm in no mood for this sort of nonsense. Will you please go away, both of you?
Well, I think your husband's death has a lot to do with these pictures, and many like them. Isn't that right, Henry?
Why are you asking me?
Well, couldn't you paint a picture like that, if you wanted to?
An imitation, you mean?
That's what I mean.
Yes. It wouldn't fool anybody who really knew his work. He crushed his own colours, I should think. They're very difficult to match.
Did you come here for an art class, Mr. Lewis?
Well, I'm sorry, but if you'd ask Mr. Spencer to come in, I think he can explain better than me.
Well, Cousin Peter's not here. Couldn't you explain?
Well, how about you, Henry? You see, your son is a brilliant painter. He's also exceptionally good at copying pictures. And I believe you've got a very fine collection here.
Yes. And?
Well, forgeries sell just as well as originals if nobody spots the difference.
That's why you asked about the Brangwins. Of course.
Henry, do you know what he's talking about?
The copies I've made of Father's collection. He thinks Peter's been selling them as the real article.
No.
Yes, I think so.
Do you think he made a lot of money out of it?
But how is this connected with my husband's death?
Well, I'm not with your local police, Mrs. Brookeway. That's their business. But they'll probably want to see Mr. Spencer fairly soon. If you'll just sign this, I can leave the paintings with you.
You couldn't really make a perfect copy of this. I never did anyway.
So you're still here, Mr. Lewis?
How strong?
What's your sense before Monday?
Well, I've seen it already. Now, can we talk in private? I've got a story to tell you.
I've got no time for stories.
The answer to this one. It's why Brookway was killed and who killed him.
We got a pretty good idea who did the job.
My idea's better. I've just been up to the Brookway place.
Oh, hello, miss. Have a nice day.
Busy. I'd love a Sanzano and lemonade, please.
Sanzano and lemonade.
Cute.
Mr. Lewis, having a drink?
No, he's just dropped me off. He had some business up in town.
There we are.
Thanks, Lord.
Hello, Talbot Arms. Oh, hello, Mrs. Brookway. Yes, he's here. Just a moment. Mr. Spencer, it's for you.
Oh, right. Hello? Pat? No, I don't think so, no. We've been burning stubble down on the 12-acre. Yes. Well, that's what I thought. Well, tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock would be the best time. Yes. Right. Bye. Thank you, Tom.
It's okay, Mr. Spencer. Bye.
Bye.
Well?
It's all hypothesis.
Look, it won't be difficult to trace the fake pictures. And as for the killing, he'll talk when he knows we rumbled him on the other job.
And yet the only paintings you've seen are bona fide, you say? Oh, come on, Lewis.
The boy admitted it in front of his mother. Spencer was keeping the copies he'd made.
Look, I'm lower in rank than you, and I know what they'd say in court about that sort of evidence. And so do you.
You mean you're not going to do anything about it?
We'll inquire.
You'll inquire. When?
When we get a bit more sense out of your oppo in there.
Like a Sanzano?
No, I don't want to drink.
Well, I do.
Where have you been?
Trying to convince your country cousins they got the wrong boy for the job. A large Scotch, please.
And of course, you got sent off with a flea in your ear.
You know the form around this place.
Well, I don't know how they work in London, but I've never met the copper yet who's turned his nose up at a nice, easy pinch. That's why there's so many innocent men doing time.
What are you, some sort of pig basher?
I'm a country girl. I like pigs. Anyway, I've got something for you.
And what is it?
Just a minute.
Come on, let's sit down.
Right. A telephone call. Mrs. Brookway to Mr. Peter Spencer. Greetings exchanged. Then, no, we've been burning stubble in the 12-acre. That's what I thought. Tomorrow morning at 8 would be the best time. Well?
What?
Well, they're making a rendezvous, aren't they? In the 12-acre field tomorrow morning.
And they live in the same house. That's very sensible.
Oh, they don't live in the same house. He's got his own place in the village. Everyone knows that they're... only in the country, you keep up appearances.
Landlord's wife tell you this?
She loves me. Anyway, it must be a rendezvous tomorrow morning, because Peter Spencer's going to Cambridge tonight. It's the local FMC get-together, and he's chairman. That bid came from the landlord. Are you satisfied?
Enchanted. Point 1. 12-acre field, there must be about 1,000 of them within spitting distance. Point 2, they're hardly going to meet in the open to discuss the next move. And point 3, I am not going to be out of my bed before 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. All right?
All right. Poor Mr. Strong.
And what's that supposed to mean?
I don't suppose they'll be letting him have a lot of sleep, will they?
Nothing.
No. Well, it's only just 8 o'clock.
I'm freezing.
Well, you could go and sit in the car.
Oh, well, hang on. I'll tell you what.
What?
We look a right pair of mugs if they're just planning to go muck spreading.
So why talk about the police not being fools?
There's a car on the road down there.
Oh, yes. They come from the house?
Well, I can't tell from here.
It's coming this way.
Let's get down there. Come on.
Is that the lot?
Yes, everything.
Lovely bonfire for a cold morning. What are you burning?
Henry, get away from that fire.
No, let him take a last look. After all, he painted them.
You're burning my work, aren't you? Still, no matter. I'll have plenty of time to do some more.
Right, you stay here.
I've told your mother, Henry. She knows now.
About the paintings, you mean?
Everything. I've always known you were a thief. I didn't think you'd end up a murderer.
Well, you can't have been all that fond of him, or you wouldn't have taken up with old Peter here. Didn't you ever feel like killing him? I did often. Quite an anticlimax when I actually did it. But all Peter's fault, really. He was going to grass on me, weren't you, Peter? Tell the old man all about my little fiddle with the paintings.
Listen, Henry, Peter and I have talked this all through. We're going to get you abroad safely with some friends.
How very lovely and helpful of you both.
But you've got to go quickly. And then, when you're safe, we can tell the police what happened.
Tell the police? You're going to tell the police that I knocked the old man off? Oh, no, you're not.
We've got to. They're holding somebody for it, an innocent man. Even you wouldn't want that on your conscience.
Oh, he'll be all right.
Not until they find the real culprit. That's why we've got to get you away. We really have thought it all out.
Well, you see, I've thought it all out as well. And I'm going to give the police 2 culprits. You 2. Yes, a suicide pact, because you were both so overcome with guilt at what you'd done. Henry!
Henry! Henry!
So get an ambulance. And tell Inspector Chambers.
Then you decided to let us know. Very timely.
And on his own, in our patch.
Well, I couldn't arrange to have the boy killed last night. I'm sorry about that.
Trouble with these interdepartmental squabbles, they don't reflect well on any of us, do they? I mean, you've got a point, Trev. Nick was well out of order in a lot of the things he did, but he'll have to give evidence at the inquest, won't he? And he could make it very embarrassing.
And he will.
I don't think so. Maybe we were on the wrong tack, but we were following correct police procedure. I don't think you were you? Super's not in yet. We can have strong release before he arrives. If that's what you'd like. Hmm?
Oh, I'm sure that's what Mr. Lewis would like. Well, nice to have met you, Inspector. Mr. Chalk, I'll see you on Monday.
She's a good talker.
Yes, and she's not the only one.
I thought the paintings might be phonies because of the acrylic paint. Wasn't about in Brangwen's day.
And Spencer swapped them over when you were kind enough to bring them to him.
Can't win them all. I was the one who suffered for it.
Well, you were only inside for 2 days.
Frightened to death I was. Grub was lousy. I suppose it took you so long because you had that new girl tagging on up there.
Yes, and the pub we stayed at was very nice.
Bet it was. What'd you find to do all weekend when you went noshing then?
Oh, we took in the countryside. She's a country girl, you know.
Buck teeth store in her hair.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Morning, Mr. Strong.
Oh, hello.
Is he always so taciturn?
Well, he feels that we left him in that nick too long while we were enjoying ourselves.
It was a lovely weekend, wasn't it?
It was.
Right, I'll be down the lab then.
No. Which desk did you say was mine?
Oh, sorry.